Tela is a stunning synth based on modal synthesis. Emulating nothing from the past, this futuristic synth makes it easy to design novel and unconventional sounds. This plugin is a masterpiece in sound and design, and it's my favorite synth of 2024. It's created by Force, a company of few people who are pushing the boundaries of what is possible in synthesis and especially in the digital domain of things. Of course, the biggest drawback of this is that it's Mac only, and I feel sad for the Windows users not being able to experience this synth. But more on that in the likes and dislikes portion of the video. Let's start by explaining what it is and what it does. So it's Tela, that's the name. It's a synthesizer based on modal synthesis. Modal synthesis uses multiple bandpass filters as partials that are sort of strung together and then resonate to ring out a sound, which is what you hear in the end. What's really cool about this synthesis is that it sort of tries to mimic physical sounds in a way, but the results are a bit of an uncanny valley, which I absolutely love. And I think this is where the magic lies in modal synthesis. I was really, wondering some time ago, why is there no such thing like this exists, and now it exists, and I'm so happy. But let's look at all the pages that we have, talk about a bit the controls, try to design sounds as we go, and you can hear it in action. First thing you see is this gorgeous interface that I absolutely love. I'm a designer, so I can say with good dose of certainty that this looks super neat and awesome. Congrats on that part. It says I would design it myself. But anyway, it's split into pages. We have 6 pages, as you can see. So we have the patch page, the impulse page, grain, tonality, contour, and space. Starting with the impulse page is where you put the basis of the control of your sound. So pitch obviously is pitch, And then you create this interesting stuff when you pitch it super down. Spreads the sound into the stereo field. Kind of randomly, I think, based on each hit goes left or right. And that's kind of fun, especially when you want to play with the stereo field. It's a really good control. Glide introduces pitch glide between tone. That's fun if you want to do like a 303 style sound or just glide. Retriggering basically retriggers the modal bank from the same start every time you press a key. If you disable it, you might get a bit more unstable organic sound, depends what you like. Usually I leave it on retriggering on. Then you have level and damp. If you want the level to control the level of the synth, leave it on. Then the damping as well. Number of voices, you can go up to mono. And mono is really great when you include glide. And so on and so forth. All pages share the same kind of bar in the bottom, which is where you have the envelope, you have attack, and you have decay. But the decay is not really a classic decay sound. It's more of controlling the resonance of the modal bank, which in turn controls how long it sounds, but it's made such it acts as decay. So for what it's worth, this is decay. Then we have the balance, which shows the balance between the impulse, which is this one, and the grain, which is this one. And then we have volume control in the end. In the impulse page, we have all pages also have these 6 macro controls, and even if you don't know what they are, just by playing them, you kind of develop an intuition on what it is that you want to create. And you also have, each page has a dedicated LFO, but I will talk about the LFO at the end. Let's get back into these controls and what they mean. And this controls the shape of the impulse generator. So from like a ramp down to like a sinusoidal and plucky sound. And I mean, one other thing to note here is any control you play with is animated, which is just so nice. And some are animating the main page design as well, which is great, at least for me. Blurring is like the amount of diffusion that you apply to the sound. Sort of like a reverb, but not quite. Tone is a high pass. Filter or low pass, not sure, but it's a filter. So then repeat is like some pseudo delay kind of thing, but it's not really delay because it repeats the impulse, not the whole sound, if that makes any sense. So if I put and then you can also either use this control, the note where it links to the DAW tempo, and the curve, which either can do like or like this, and double click, you go back to the default, which every synth should have, most do, so that's great. Clicking on this, it's gonna start repeating the notes when you hold, for the whole duration of you holding them, which is also nice. And that's that. It's pretty cool control to play with and see how it affects the sound. That's the impulse page. Then we have the grain page. So while the impulse, you can imagine, is like a striking action on the modal bank, which is controlled here, but we'll go there in a second. The grain is like a blowing action because it uses a lot of partials or grains that are played at different speed and whatnot, I think. And to demonstrate, wait, let's turn off the repeat. You see, it's like blowing action. Density controls the density of those particles. Shape controls the shape. Tone is a filter, and you have attack, hold, and release. Envelope here. So that's that. But where it gets really interesting is the tonality page. This is where you kind of, up until now, all of this is at 0. And when it is like that, it's sort of like a perfect ratio of each partial in the modal bank, and the result is a saw wave, which is what you hear now. But the saw wave you can treat as a blank canvas to put your sound on, and as soon as you start playing with this thing, for example, oh nice, so I mean I love how this sounds so much. You start introducing physicality into the sound. Gap controls the distance between each partial, and increasing that distance to odd numbers gives you this timbre that's kind of physical alike, but not quite. Yeah, blend controls the expansion or contraction of the partials, and so cool. Or this like toy box. And look how cool it is that almost everything that I do here is reflected here, so you have visual feedback of what you do. Tuning is how inharmonic or harmonic are each partials. If you go at the highest value, then each partial will be at the perfect distance of the bass frequency, resulting in more in tune sound. However, I like it when it's not completely in tune. Offset, I forgot what it is, but I mean, it offsets the partials in some way. You just hear it and you develop an intuition. This is the beauty of this synth anyway. Damping is controlling the resonance again of the filter and resulting in a longer decay and a shorter plucky one in the end. And finally, we have, well, not finally, we have 2 more pages. Sorry about that. Contour basically shape is for shaping the the structure of the sound without affecting the frequency so much. So this is and I need a bit more harmonically rich sound. Yeah. So you control the amplitude of each partial this way. Then you control the tilt, the mix between even and odd partials. This introduces a sine wave into the modal bank, and depth controls the depth of that. And while you do all this, you have this show of lines. And phase controls the start of the cycle of the phase. And finally, we have a really nice reverb. Mix controls the amount of mix being fed into the reverb. It's an insert effect, not a send one. Then you have size, which can make some glitchy stuff. So from small kind of room to large, infinite space, decay. Focusing on early, on late reflections more, so it's an interesting control to play with. Chorus applying to the reverberation lines on the reverb. Large values here, you will almost hear like pitch bending, and tone is the filter of the reverb. And finally we have the LFO section, which is here, and it's very simple, but also kind of complex because you can do a lot with not too many controls, which is the beauty of the whole thing. Here, let's say we wanna, yeah, it's on cut. If we increase the depth, this is the rate. And what you hear now is amplitude modulation, all controls, because once you go fast enough to the parameter, you can then, it's a whole other form of messing up with your sound. But if you go a bit more normal, then you introduce this slight movement to whatever control. Each LFO is per page and can only go to one destination, which yeah, I kind of wanted to have few destinations, but it is what it is. We'll talk about that more later. This is whether the LFO is in sync with the project tempo or in sync with the DAW. Right now is free. This is, you see the DAW, and this is the ratio, which is good thing. And jitter introduces randomness. That was it with the overview. Next we go with the likes and dislikes. There's so much to like about this synth, and first and foremost, it's a stunning, lovely design that I absolutely love. And even if I don't make something, I can just flip through the pages and enjoy what I look at, which will defeat the purpose of, you know, designing sounds. But anyway, I love it. It does sound amazing, and it's so easy to sound design and create weird sounds like this or less weird, anything you like, really. But modal synthesis is great, and this synth does it very well. I love that there are not too many controls, but there are enough controls to affect the sound in a meaningful way, so that's great. The biggest then dislike is that it's just on Mac. There's no Windows. I haven't used Windows in 15 years maybe, but I still feel like they deserve to be able to use this. I read somewhere the reasons is because they use their own framework to make this plugin, which uses a lot of Mac libraries and whatnot. Maybe it has to do with the animations, and I'm not sure, but and there are only 2 developers, so you have to have that in mind. Don't blame them, it's not on purpose. I'm sure they had a long look at this, but if they have a chance to reconsider this and make a Windows version, then it will make a lot more sense to me, because I feel they deserve to play with this. It's a fantastic synth and they should have it somehow, even if it's a less of a, if something is not exactly the same as it is here, I think that would be a good compromise to take. But yeah, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. And the other thing is a small one. It's the settings page. When you flip through this stuff, I would expect, you know, the theme to be applied. I need to click. The biggest issue for me was I couldn't adjust the scaling initially, so that took me some time to figure out. They actually told me in the YouTube comments how to make it, so please change this to not to have this confirmation step. It's not necessary. And yeah, that's it for this video. Kudos to Force for making this. I will use it a lot. You heard the gems, it sounds amazing, and I'm very keen to see what else they're gonna build. I wish them well. It's a fantastic company, and yeah, if you try this, have fun. Otherwise, have a lovely day. Thanks for watching. See you at the next one.